So what he says to Abram is, I want you to leave your country, I want you to leave your family, and I want you to go to the land that I will show you. I'm going to make you the father of a great nation. I'm going to make you famous throughout history. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. I'm going to bless you, and through you, the entire world is going to be blessed. Here is the mission of God in this world. I need you to see this tonight. This is the way God works. He blesses you to bless the nations. This is the way God intends to finish the job. He blesses you so that you and I can carry out His calling in our life to bless the nations. That begins here in Genesis 12. The Great Commission is not Matthew 28. The first Great Commission is Genesis 12. You are blessed in order to bless the nations. This is God's covenant promise that He's making. So what He's doing, God is choosing to bless the entire earth through one family of people. It's a crazy project. That throughout generations and across cultures, God is going to bless those people and those cultures through one family. Here's the problem. Abram's half-sister wife, Sarah, is infertile. She can't have babies. You can't, let me explain something to you. You can't have family unless you can have babies. She can't have babies. How are we going to have a family? So, the other problem is the fact that he's 75 and she's 65. So she is beyond childbearing years. Physically impossible. It's not like we're rolling around checking out 65-year-olds and 75-year-olds having babies. So not only can she not only does she have a history of infertility, we're like, well, God just can go in and fix that. Well, she's beyond childbearing years. So you've got to sit here and go, how is God going to pull this off? How is He going to make this happen? Well, God leads Abram and Sarah and sort of their part of their extended family to this land called Canaan. And there God tells Abram, this is what He says. He says, okay, stand where you are, just in the middle of the land. Look as far around as you can see. Maybe He gets him on a little mountain where he can see for a little bit of distance. And He says, look around as far as you can see. I am giving this land to you and to your descendants. And so throughout the scriptures, you hear this land referred to as the land of promise or the promised land. Now, some time passes, about 10, 15, 20 years, somewhere around there passes, and Abram and Sarah still don't have a child. Now, some of us get real fussy with God if he doesn't come through on His promise in like a week. Like some of you, like you've been praying for a job for a couple months, and you're a little bitter at God right now because you're still unemployed. I mean, you think your future is you're going to have the biggie size things the rest of your life? After 2 weeks or 2 months of praying. Some of you have been praying for that first date for 5 years. Well, cheer up, little camper. It's 15, 20 years for Abram where God says, I'm going to make you the father of this nation. And nothing happens. So it's not that he's 75 and Sarah's 65. Now he's pushing 90. And she's the age that she is. And so Abram, all of a sudden, at some point in time, is going, look, your promises are worthless. I mean, what good is all of this? What good is you giving me this land if I don't even have a son? Because I'm going to die. I should be dead already. I'm going to die, and like my servant over here is going to end up running this whole thing. It's not even going to be my family. God's response is, the promise is still true. I didn't put a time frame on this. I mean, you're going to have a son, and he's going to inherit everything that I promised you. And then God takes Abram outside. They lived in tents. He went outside, and not a lot of city lights in the middle of nowhere. You know what it's like if you go in the middle of nowhere and you look at the night sky and there are all these stars. And He says, Abram, start counting. This is the population of your family. If you can count this, your family is going to be this large. This is what I have in mind. I need you to think big, multiplication, not just addition here. And here's the amazing thing that happens. Again, you've got 15 years of God not coming through, working against you. In that moment, we're told that Abram believed God. This is faith. It's trusting in the character of God to come through on His promises. This is at the heart of what we call Christianity, seen in this story. Christianity is about trusting that God is who He says He is and comes through on His promise. And we're told here that Abram believes God in such a way that God credits to him as the stuff of faith and righteousness. Righteousness is a big religious word that basically means you get this right. I mean, you get your head on straight here. This is how life is supposed to be. And even though we have jacked everything up and we're really rotten to the core in every part of our being, what we're told here is that by the gift of God's grace, Abram is able to respond in such a way that he looks like a man who has his act together. Now, some more years go by. Sarah still doesn't get pregnant. So she goes to her servant, a little hot Egyptian yum-yum named Hagar. You got to remember, Abram's pushing 90. Hugh Hefner. Sarah's not far behind him. And she's like, well, he needs to get pregnant. And so he goes to his servant. I don't think she asks Hagar whether or not she wants to have a baby. She asks Abram. Abram doesn't object. And I don't know very many men who would. Like, I know what we say we would. But your wife comes in and says, we can't get pregnant, you're pregnant this way. So Abram says yes. And we figure out pretty quickly that Abram's not infertile because Hagar gets pregnant. We won't do the math and mechanics there. Hagar gets pregnant. Hagar and Sarah hate each other. Hagar's angry at Sarah for putting her in this position. Sarah's mad at Hagar because she's having the baby that she has always wanted. And the whole thing falls apart. Hagar gives birth to this baby named Ishmael. Ishmael and Hagar eventually are sent away. Now, Abram is upset by this and says, look, I don't understand why this can't be the promised child, why this can't be my son. But God says, look, you're pushing 99 years old and I still have a plan here. And he says, look, I am God. Serve me with your entire life. Trust me in this. I'm going to keep my promise to you. I'm going to come through. I have not broken my covenant. I have not changed my mind. And I want you to know that I'm so behind this promise that I'm going to change your name, which is a massive big deal there. I mean, this isn't like changing your last name from Johnson to Ocho Cinco. To change your name in that culture means you changed your identity. The name Abram means the father of one nation. The name Abraham means the father of many nations. He says, you're going to be the father of many nations, not just one. And I'm not going to make Ishmael the promised son. I will bless him, but I'm going to give you a son through Sarah. Quit screwing around and trying to hijack this idea. You, Sarah, that's how we're going to have the baby. Now, Abram and Sarah both kind of laugh to themselves in total disbelief of God's promise. And Abram's like, dude, I'm 100 years old. Seriously, it's not like we're on our honeymoon 80 years ago. It's been a long time. She's an old lady, and I'm an old man. So they think this is just total crazy nonsense. So he's going, Sarah's thinking, look, it says here, this is the way in which the story of the scripture is written. How can a worn-out woman like me have a baby? And my old man is older than me. Abraham asked God, seriously, why not Ishmael? And God's response is anything too hard for me? That's part of your question tonight. Is there anything that is impossible for God to do? And sure enough, a year later, exactly as he had said, Sarah gives birth to her first son and names him Isaac. Remember how Abraham and Sarah were laughing at God? Ironically enough, they named this baby boy Isaac, and his name means laughter. This is the child of the promise. The birth of Isaac is the beginning of God fulfilling the promise he made to Abraham. God desired, intends for Abraham's descendants, beginning with Isaac, this people that would be called the Hebrews, to be his family, his representatives on the earth, for the sake of the nations, to bless them, that they might see what it looks like to live under the good rule of God. Now, they will fail in that task. They will fail miserably. This people will whittle themselves down to where they hope in the king. And centuries later, they would put their hopes in a man named David as their king. David would fail miserably as the one who would both represent God's interest in this world and rescue and save his people. But even then, God said, look, I have not given up on my promise. I have not abandoned you. My covenant promise is true for you, and one day I will send another king. Part of this family, from Abraham down to David. And he would come and he would live the perfect life that we all need and desperately fail to live. And he would come and he would die on the cross and to die the death that we all deserve. But what we see here tonight is the beginning of this family. The great hope that here's this family who might bless the world around you. So tonight, as we sit here and we talk about this, as we process through this story, my hope is that you'll wrestle with this a little bit, some of the implications of what this means for you. It means that if you are part of the family of God, that is your identity. Your identity is not Baptist or Presbyterian. Your identity is not the fact that you believe this, or you look like this, or you are this smart or this funny or whatever. Who you are all boils down to who you belong to. And we believe because of Jesus that we can belong to God, and that changes everything. Kim's going to come up here in just a minute and explain a little bit about what we're going to do with small groups. We want to give you time to process and work through this. But again, I think on the back end of tonight, what you're wrestling through is if this is true, and particularly if you're here and maybe you're just kind of on the fence, you're peeking over the fence of Christianity, what if this is true? What are the implications for you if you have an identity that is secure and meaningful? How would this change your life? How would this change the life of the people around you? How would this change the city of Athens if all this is true? So I want to pray for you, pray with you, and then we'll talk about how we're going to break this small groups. Father, I thank you for my friends. I thank you for your love for us. I thank you that we can really begin even in this environment to begin to learn what it looks like to love one another. And I pray for the grace to really engage with each other tonight. Even if this is the only time in the history of our lives where we may sit across from this group of people in this particular group, that we're part of the family of God. We are all created in the image of God, and those of us who belong to Jesus have this distinct, unique identity of being sons and daughters of God. I pray that would allow us to act like family, where we do love each other, we trust each other, and we also dig into it a little bit with each other, and we don't sit passively by, that we wrestle through conversations with one another because we love the truth, and it's not that we just love the truth for the sake of truth. We love the truth because it helps us to see Jesus and know who God is. So I pray for that these next few minutes would be meaningful and life-changing for people. All of our hope is in you. You have made this promise to us, and you have come through on this promise. You are our God. You never leave us. You never forsake us. You love us with an unbreaking, never-ending, always and forever love. Help us to believe that, we pray. All right, y'all. Thanks. Love y'all.
All right.